Howdy, y'all. It's Reese, aka Bearman Prime, on this November 10th. Welcome back to my Read the Bible in a Year series. Thank you again for joining me. God bless you all. Card at the top right hand corner for the rest of the playlist, and please hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. I really do appreciate it. All right, so we're continuing to follow the Apostle Paul as he winds down his second missionary journey. He's made a westward journey across Galatia and Asia Minor, to Macedonia and Greece, and now he's sailed across the sea, hitting certain places until he's come back to modern day Syria, and then he's traveled south back to Jerusalem. That was his goal. He's going back to Jerusalem despite the warnings of all the followers and his friends that he's met along the way. Everyone's telling him, don't go back, don't go back. You're going to get arrested, you're going to get chained, you're going to get handed over to the Romans. But Paul would not be dissuaded. He knows that it's his time to go back. He needs to go back. The Spirit is leading him. And we left off where he just got back to Jerusalem. So let's pick it up there in Acts 21, verse 18. The next day, Paul went with us to visit James, and all the elders were there. After greeting them, Paul told them point by point all that God had used him to do among the non-Jewish people. When the leaders heard this, they praised God. Then they said to Paul, "Brother, you can see that thousands of Jews have become believers, but they think it is very important to obey the law of Moses. They have been told that you teach the Jews who live in non-Jewish regions to stop following the law of Moses. They have heard that you tell them not to circumcise their sons or follow our other customs. What should we do? The Jewish leaders here will learn that you have come. So we will tell you what to do. 4 of our men have made a vow to God. Take these men with you and share in their cleansing ceremony. Pay their expenses so that they can shave their heads. This will prove to everyone that the things they have heard about you are not true. They will see that you obey the law of Moses in your own life. In regard to the non-Jewish believers, we have already sent a letter to them saying what we think they should do. Don't eat food that has been given to idols. Don't eat meat from animals that have been strangled or any meat that still has the blood in it. Don't be involved in sexual sin." Verse 26. So Paul took the 4 men with him. The next day he shared in their cleansing ceremony. Then he went to the temple area and announced the time when the days of the cleansing ceremony would be finished. On the last day an offering would be given for each of the men. When the 7-day period was almost finished, some Jews from Asia saw Paul in the temple area. They stirred up everyone into an angry mob. They grabbed Paul and shouted, "Men of Israel, help us! This is the man who is teaching things that are against the law of Moses, against our people, and against this temple of ours. This is what he teaches people everywhere. And now he has brought some Greeks into the temple area and has made this holy place unclean." The Jews said this because they had seen Trophimus with Paul in Jerusalem. Trophimus was a man from Ephesus. The Jews thought that Paul had taken him into the holy area of the temple. An angry reaction spread throughout the city, and everyone came running to the temple. They grabbed Paul and dragged him out of the holy area, and the gates were closed immediately. While they were trying to kill Paul, the commander of the Roman army in Jerusalem got word that the whole city was in a state of riot. Immediately, the commander ran to where the crowd had gathered, taking with him some army officers and soldiers. When the people saw the commander and his soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. The commander went over to Paul and arrested him. He told his soldiers to tie him up with 2 chains. Then he asked, "Who is this man? What has he done wrong?" Some people there were shouting one thing, and others were shouting something else. Because of all this confusion and shouting, the commander could not learn the truth about what had happened. So he told the soldiers to take Paul to the army building. The whole crowd was following them. When the soldiers came to the steps, they had to carry Paul. They did this to protect him because the people were ready to hurt him. The people were shouting, "Kill him!" All right, that's where we're going to end it for today. So, not the homecoming that Paul probably would have wanted, but it is probably the one he expected. So, he goes and sees James, the brother of Jesus, who is the leader of the Jewish assembly, the Jewish believing assembly in Jerusalem, and the elders. And they start talking to him about how he's teaching the Jews who live in non-Jewish areas to not follow the law of Moses and not follow their customs, right? And so there's confusion there because they already told the Gentiles they don't have to follow the law, and they repeated that here. But their fellow countrymen, the Jews, it's their customs, it's their traditions. Now, it's not part of their salvation, it's just part of their culture, right? So there's confusion there. And then he goes through this cleansing ceremony to, kind of set that wrong right for himself in his heart because he is Jewish. So he's still following the Jewish custom. But then we see some Jews that have come over from Asia Minor who recognize Paul despite his head being shaved at this point. And they stir up a huge riot. They want to kill him. They want to beat him because he brought a Gentile into the temple. They thought he brought a Gentile into the holy area, which to them would have been just a desecration. He desecrated the temple. So they threw him out literally, and they're starting to beat him. And then Rome steps in. The commander of the army comes in with his men. And rather than just dispersing the crowd, he arrests what is, obviously the center of their attention, Paul. He arrests him and brings him back to the barracks or the command post, wherever they are. Not necessarily for mainly for his safety, for Paul's safety, so he can get the story straight, so he can learn what the heck is going on and what this guy actually did, why these people want to actually kill him. So we'll see what happens there tomorrow. But thank you again for joining me. I sure do appreciate it. I'll see y'all tomorrow.